Long ago, BlueLock captured the intensity of soccer with breathtaking animation and dynamic, expressive, well-animated movements. It was on its own league with a huge hype factor. Then everything changed when Season 2 arrived. The animation quality took a big L, and the fluid action turned into a slideshow. Only the hopes of the fans could save it, but when the world needed improvement the most, it felt like it vanished. So guys, can we get a minute of silence for BlueLock Season 2 please? It's been a while since episode 6 of BlueLock Season 2 has aired, and it somehow has managed to give me a slight ray of hope to look for more this season. To be fair, it's not completely good, but here we are at times where we have to compare the seats and choose the less shittier one. Episode 6 of this season is the best episode among the worst, and I would say kind of not so shit while still being shit. Alright, that's enough shit. Holy shit. Okay, to be fair, episode 6 kind of have some plus points, but definitely not you, brother. So build up.
Approved!
The progression of the story, tension and hype factor was so well executed that it felt something similar to the hype that we used to see for El Clasico match. The OST, background music, audience cheering and fan clips all managed to immerse us in the match, and I would say these were the major strengths of the episode. The animation was also excellent during the build-up scenes, and it worked like a charm without needing those crazy camera angles and dynamic motions. While you can tell where the animation faltered at times, the build-up was still definitely worthy of praise. Voice acting, say you.
Approved!
Voice acting was great, and I would say that Season 2 has been carried so far largely because of the Seiyu. I don't think it would have made much sense to look forward to new episode each week this season if not for the voice acting. And I would also say that every episode has had amazing voice acting. Without the incredible voice acting, I don't think it would have been as easy to stay engaged or look forward to new episodes each week. The voice actors' performances are truly the backbone of this season, and they help keep the momentum going. Action choreography.
No!
There wasn't much effort put into the action scenes, and they felt similar to what we have seen in previous episodes. However, we did get to see some slight movements during the matches, specifically from the actual players and their surroundings, with the focus on objects rather than just static frames. While it was still mostly a slideshow, there was a bit more attention given to the action scenes, though it was minimal. In the upcoming episodes, these minimal efforts need to be made more frequently. Action scenes are going to be the major hype factor as the story moves forward, and the core principle to make them work is proper animation. There needs to be enough motion added to make the scenes feel fluid and consistent rather than just relying on transitions between static frames. The animation must carry the intensity of the matches, and for that, there needs to be more dynamic motion to maintain the excitement and engagement of the audience. Entertainment value.
Approved!
This episode was enjoyable overall. We did get some scenes featuring Bachira doing some of these tricks, though not at the same level as in Season 1. The Euro stunt that Bachira did was well executed, where we got to see the actual motion of character and ball rather than just a frame with motion effect on top. The audience reaction followed by that moment felt amazing as well. It's still worth mentioning that the brief moments we did get to see were worthwhile. It felt like we had finally found a drop of water in the desert. Despite the heavy reliance on still frames throughout the episodes, this episode still worked. Static frames can be highly effective when the focus isn't on action-packed scenes, and the episode made that work in its own way. The episode mainly focused on the build-up and only gave a brief glimpse of the match itself. That being said, I found it entertaining as a whole. Scene composition.
I don't know.
The scenes were well framed in some cases, and in some that wasn't the case. The entry scene to stadium that we got was definitely worthy of praise, as that kind of scene composition is exactly that we look for in real games as well, and all those portrayal of events succeeded in immersing the audience. Speaking of immersion, though, it's worth noting that some elements in the episode managed to break that immersion at times. Art style and visuals.
Approved!
The art style has never been a problem, and it remains one of the show's strong suits. It has consistently maintained a high quality throughout, sometimes even improving with its episodes. Visuals were stunning and they have absolutely nailed the big match atmosphere. The OST and visual blended so well that the animation never became an issue for this episode. But it felt like that anime studio did its hardest to animate everything else but the action itself. Everything except the match was the best part. Transitions and motion effects.
No.
The flow between scenes feels jarring and overly frequent. We are at a point in the story where the players are trying to find their own flow, but the actual flow of the anime between scenes is a mess. It feels excessive. If they continue this approach, it would make more sense for the whole episode to be considered part of an extended additional time segment. Engagement.
Approved.
This episode definitely managed to evoke a strong emotional response, filling us with excitement. The OSTs, voice acting, build-up scenes, fans cheering, and the entry into the stadium all helped overshadow the poor quality animation in certain moments. Whenever the action wasn't animated, it felt amazing. All these elements that the anime studio incorporated, along with some slight improvements during the matches, made me feel like they could do more if they put in the effort, giving me a small ray of hope. But only time will tell whether that hope is justified. I suppose almost everyone has already watched this episode and may have felt some level of excitement while doing so. Compared to the previous episodes we have seen this season, this one had some notable positives. It was the best episode of season 2 so far, but still it's not quite where I would expect it to be. I would say it's the best among the worst, meaning it's a little less bad than the others. However, to be completely fair, there were aspects worth praising, and they did manage to give that slight ray of hope.
Hope. Let me tell you something, my friend. Hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane. It's got no use on the inside. You better get used to that idea.